The partner side is a big part of the World Cup preparation. If partners have clear conditions, the motivation, and a campaign that matches the scale of the event, it becomes easier for them to plan traffic, choose the right moments, and stay active throughout the season.
You're listening to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast, powered by Affiverse, ultimate destination for affiliate program news, insights, growth opportunities, partnerships, and affiliate program strategy. Welcome back to the Affiliate Marketing Podcast, the show where we get into the strategies, the numbers, and the real decisions that drive performance marketing in this industry. I'm your host, Leanne Johnston, and today we're talking about something that's coming up fast and that every affiliate and media buying team really needs to be thinking about in the sports betting industry, and that is the World Cup. Now, this isn't a football show, but when the biggest sporting event on the planet lands, it changes everything. User behaviors shift, traffic gets expensive, competition spikes overnight, and the brands that win aren't the ones who react to this event. They're the ones who are prepared months in advance. So today we're talking about what does it actually take to treat the World Cup as its own marketing season, with its own rules around traffic, creative, budgets, and execution. Joining me on this episode is Vitaliia, a performance marketer from Pinup Partners, who sits at the intersection of influencer marketing and media buying, and who knows exactly what it takes to turn a major event like the World Cup into real results and not just reach. Let's get into it. Today, I am quite interested to talk to a lovely lady that I've met, has come onto the podcast to talk about the upcoming World Cup, the sports betting industry, and a lot of really good information about working with content creators and how this helps Pinup Partners build their already established global brand. Joining me today this week is Vitaliia from Pinup Partners. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast with me. I've been looking forward to this discussion, so thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here. Happy to discuss all the upcoming season, the World Cup. Yeah, share maybe some insights with the industry.
Absolutely. Really looking forward to it. So tell us a little bit about yourself first, because obviously we want to just make sure that our audience knows what your background is. So how did you land up working at Pinup in the role that you currently have?
So my role is team lead of influencer marketing. My team is working with influencers, streamers, creators through all the countries that Pinup is operating on. So yeah, I ended up here just because of, my constant searching for something new and something interesting. As a person, I like social media, I like posting the TikTok stories. So eventually it became my job to work with other people who post the same content on the internet. Meanwhile, it's interesting because we're not only posting the content, but we drive traffic to the platform. So it's both creative and like a serious job with analytics, with all this traffic details.
You followed your passion and landed up with a job.
It's interesting. I met so many people, influencers, and my colleagues. You never learn influencer marketing or affiliate marketing in university. So we all came there from different, industries, different background. And this is really interesting too.
And it's a really awesome brand as well, because Pinup, their marketing is just amazing. Like, it's very distinctive, very well known within the industry as well. But we're talking about World Cup as a separate marketing season in this episode, because it's not just about the football hype. So it's not just about getting the customers interested in who's going to win. When you're talking to content creators and influencers, you're coming up with campaigns and strategies to keep your customers engaged and to actually bring them to your platform to have a really good experience from an entertainment perspective, but also from a product perspective as well. So World Cup creates sort of high intensity performance environments where user behaviors can shift very quickly depending on the kind of content that they are reading, seeing, hearing. So I guess what I'm trying to say is players aren't always loyal. Like, they're very easily swayed. Having a really good content strategy and having content creators backing your brand during a pivotal period in the sports betting calendar is a very important part of your business marketing strategy. It also becomes very expensive because World Cup, it's like Super Bowl, any of these bigger events, traffic becomes more expensive, demand becomes more expensive, and speed to market becomes critical. And these are all the things that you're battling with every day in the day-to-day as you're planning, executing, and managing all of your content creators and ambassadors and the people that you work with. Why should affiliate media buying teams treat the World Cup as a separate marketing season and not just part of the standard calendar or as another sporting event? What makes it unique, and why is it such a big focus for you?
Yeah, I think the World Cup is completely different season season because it changes the whole context around the user, around the traffic. It is not just one match or just one news moment. For a few weeks, people talking about one topic. They organize their attention around favorite teams, fictional teams, predictions, emotions they have because of the matches, and all this buzzing around. For affiliate and media buying teams, this means the market becomes much more intense. As you said, we are all fighting, like every brand is fighting for this user. There is more attention, a lot of noise, and actually we are reaching the same users, and the cost of being late becomes much higher. I would not treat it as a regular campaign where you just add a football player to the visual, increase the budget, and waiting for some miracle to happen. The World Cup needs its own preparation flow, which geos matter most, which sources you can scale, which are ready, which creatives are better actually in this case, which partners can move faster or which you better stop for a moment. And what the team does when something going wrong or something changing in the tournament. From our experience, the teams that benefit most are the ones that prepare before the first match, not the ones that start reacting when the hype is already there and with jokes, memes, news.
Yeah, so there's a lot of preparation work that you guys are doing before you even start running campaigns. And how much time do you give yourself to actually start prepping the strategy for a World Cup year? Is it 6 months before? Do you sit down a quarter before? Because obviously you need to manage all of the content creators that you're going to be working with through this period. So do you have to pre-book their calendars or their media? How far in advance do you have to start working on this particular marketing season?
In our team, if we are talking about influencer marketing, we start actually from the beginning of the year. We did some tests, like the small one. Let's try this one in January, just in case. Let's check how it's working. Our product team, they're preparing the platform and all these tournaments. I believe also they started really early to test everything, to start whether this thing is working or no. Marketing team is preparing the calendar where it's better to put, this story or that story on our social media. So we could also join the pin-up Instagram and make a collaboration with the influencers we work with. In terms of our team, what we do, we work actively with tipsters. Those are creators focused on sport predictions and betting-related content. Their audience is really very niche, very specific, but deeply interested in sports, and this is what we need for the World Cup. One of the formats we use is betting coupons with a ready-made selection of bets for several matches and events. So tipsters publish them in their own style, natural, integrate them to the regular content. So the audience sees it more advice or experience that these guys haven't, then direct advertising. So since the beginning of the year, we have already tested a large number of tipsters, different formats, different geos, creating approaches, and we have a pool of tipsters to work. We clearly understand which creators perform best, which audiences react stronger, which types of sports content we need to integrate. And I think this preparation becomes especially valuable before an event like World Cup. Instead of spending tournament time on basic testing, inventing ideas or something, we can focus on scaling and try the formats that already proved effect. And my favorite thing about it, an important advantage, these are local people who genuinely live inside the sport, football culture in this case. They watch matches, they support national team, they understand all the local trends, jokes, emotions, all the discussion even faster than any marketing team, the best marketing team. So during such big tournaments like this, local connection becomes extremely valuable for creating this relevant content first, of course, to publish something.
Yeah, it sounds pretty scientific. There's a lot of testing that's happening. There's a lot of psychology that's going behind this, because the other thing with football is it is like a religion. People stick behind their team, and the value of the customer is so deep with the brand and the team that they support. So even understanding how to leverage that bit of the culture of football into whatever the content creators are producing for you and the messaging that you're giving them, that also needs to be tested before you actually get to the main event.
Yeah, so the idea is to be prepared previously, half a year or no, but you should already have prepared templates for designers, CTAs, and the bonus amount is the same during World Cup or no. So it's nice to have some templates again, like scripts to work with, to reduce all the stress to the maximum, because this period is really stressful because of speed. So you need to be prepared really well.
And how do you manage that preparation? Because a lot of people always say that content creators, like there's a brand, you always have to control the brand, right? Because the branding is so important. But in this testing, do you actually then also educate the content creators so that they know how to actually create and produce content for you during this period? Or do you still prefer to give the content creator like sort of brand approved assets to use? How much freedom do you give them, or do you test them?
We are happy to hear any ideas from management team, for example, or creative team of the influencer or influencer itself, especially with the sport ones. They definitely, my team, 90%, so we are not that deep into football, especially like local one in, I don't know, Africa or Latin America, for example. Yeah, we can Google it. We can search for some Mexican teams, but still, we do not know
Just the finer nuances of those localized markets. So you rely on your content creators to actually give you that and feedback what's working, what is, even from a cultural perspective.
Yeah, because as I said, it was emotion. Sometimes, I don't know, the story about some football player, it's interesting, and we can add it to the creative to provoke this emotion and get people to go and register.
And do you follow like local news during the period as well and adjust your campaigns? Because obviously if a major footballer has an incident or something during the World Cup, it just amplifies the content even further. So do you find even though you've done all of this preparation, you still need to have an element of during the actual running of the campaign as well? Because obviously stuff happens throughout the match play and you might want to pick up on something. And so the speed to market, it becomes even more frenetic for you during the actual match, not just before.
Yeah, sure. We're planning on following the news as fast as we can. We also have a really good local team of country managers, regional managers. They are helping us in our basic campaigns with circle views or celebrations that again in Latin America might happen something different than in Europe. So we need to consider this as well. Yeah. So this is really important. This is not something you can prepare because as we know, there will be memes, jokes that we need to integrate
kind of
as well.
Play on, pick up during the actual event. So you do all of this preparation, all of this scientific kind of looking at data, building your like core community of content creators through all of these little mini, should I say, micro testing that happens prior to the main event. Then you get to the main event and you've still got to actually keep your eye on the ball in terms of what's happening in the environment as it's playing out, because you pick up on those little like nano events that happen during the season and during the actual gameplay. Does user behavior change during the World Cup though? Because obviously the fans have their teams, but have you ever had an experience where user behavior changes dramatically during that period and you have to reorganize, or does that not really happen so much?
Yes, I would say users become more active, but also more emotional, even sensitive. They spend more time around sport content, they follow updates, discuss teams, watch those reactions around the favorite team or
amplified. Whereas normally it would be just part like they do their usual thing. But in this period, the customer is way more turned on. They're probably checking the stats more regularly. They're logging in, more into the platform as well. Do you see that it affects your traffic between like competition between brands? Do you see a lot of switching happening during the World Cup? So do customers that maybe were dormant with you, they come back during a peak period, or do you just look at net new during this time?
Of course, it's going to be a really competitive period and the price is going to be higher. So again, the preparation, the cool mind, everything going to help us be the first to lead everyone, to show how it should be done. Yeah, so we should understand that we have a rivalry between several products, but not to focus on this, focus on our partners, our clients, our users, and making the campaigns better and better, work in this sports-related sources, be into the event, not just, as I mentioned, like waiting for this miracle that World Cup will change everything and we just sit in next to the laptop and check stats every time.
So what types of creatives and influencer formats tend to work best during a major football events, especially when emotions and real-time reactions matter so much? Because obviously if a match doesn't go to plan and a fan hasn't won, how do you adjust and communicate with those customers? Do you have different creatives for different instances that happen? How much planning do you do? Do you just do the main campaign, or do you have a backup as well, just in case it doesn't work out the way that you thought?
Of course, this is what I said, like teams should understand what we are doing if something is going on. Yeah, mainly it's sports related creatives, but not just the football teams or one football player. It's a creative that feels connected to exact moment. And that's why I mentioned templates that we can adjust to different results. Win, loss, add something for national pride. And then again, me or player, everyone is talking about catches the feeling it has much better chance to work. So yeah, we prepare templates in advance so we could adapt them to different outcomes, teams, geos, or moments. With influencers, it's easier because we do not have pre-prepared banner for them. We have a brief mainly, and they will use it to show match day content in stories, for example, or make short videos with live reactions, those quick integrations. And for us, most important, it's local part of their whole content. So local leaders can, because it's World Cup. So this part of national pride will be important too.
So, because that would also like maybe scare some marketers, the fact that they have to work on the fly meaning as it happens. So you're briefing your content creator and they're pushing their content, they're making their content and pushing it out. Like, how do you manage all of that though? Because if you're working with, say, 1,000 content creators, like how do you make sure that everything that they're creating, do you brief them and train them on how to create the content so that it fits with your brand team? Because I often get told the brand team's always fighting with the social media team because it's all like, how controlling can you be? You've got these content creators, you've got those deep connections with their local audiences, which is what you're really wanting to tap into when you're working with creators. So how does your team actually manage that? Because it must be pretty scary to see pieces of content go out that maybe haven't been approved by the brand team. So do you have a little bit of leeway? Is there like a sort of, you can work between this parameter and this parameter, but then after that you need to get approval, or how do you manage all of that?
First of all, it's structure inside the team. So we have one manager. So the person is not switching its attention to different markets. If it's Mexico, for example, it's only like person is dive into Mexican context completely. The second part, that we are not planning to do testing during the World Cup. We only will work with someone who we rely on. We know that we can understand which result this or that person can bring. And everything is publishing with our approval, especially of the smallest details, like, I don't know, the compliance words you can say, which it's better not to say in order to keep natural and interesting, not like just direct advertising, go place a bet.
And there's a lot of rules and restrictions that content creators and affiliates have to have on social media channels as well. So it's not just your own guidelines for them, but it's also what the actual platform allows them to do as well. So there's a really deep education piece, which is why it makes sense what you say, that you're not planning to do any testing during this period. You already have your kind of strat plan put in place and the key partners that you want to be working with. So how do teams prepare for tournament starts? Because that's like the end game. Like when the tournament starts, there's no turning back. You've got to hope that all the prep work that you've done is going to see you through the end of the season and the end of the tournament. From testing traffic sources to planning budgets and creative scenarios, like how do you prepare for that? Because it's probably the most stressful time of your calendar in the year, really. It's like a make or break campaign. You either get it right during World Cup and your company sings, or you have to like pedal very fast like a duck underwater and hope that everything that implement actually plays through. So how do you prepare for that?
So before the tournament, now actually we're choosing priority geos, test sources, if we are talking about media buying in general, or in our case, we're testing partners, different influencers, check which funnels and creatives can work, prepare templates for different scenarios, and agree on budgets in advance. I guess team also needs clear internal rules. Who approves creators? How fast we can approve this or that decision? When budgets, for example, are shifted, or when campaign is stopped, what happens if the first hypothesis does not work? How much freedom team has into approving all these decisions? If you start discussing all this after the first match, it's already too late because everyone is doing the advertising and you're just talking about what we're going to do. So what we do in our case, again, the strong preparation to make sure that everyone is calm and know exactly what they are doing. Also, very important is partner mechanics. When partners know the conditions, talk about affiliates, they are well aware about promo mechanics, the motivation, they can plan their traffic better. in advance. So for a season like this, a strong partner campaign is not a bonus. It's really important thing. It helps partners understand where to focus and give them a reason to be more active during this competitive period.
So I'm hearing you say that there needs to be templates, there needs to be internal structures. So when things go wrong, who's doing what? So almost like a contingency plan is already prepared prior to when the actual tournament begins. So you've got all of your campaign assets ready, you've done all of your testing, you then build an internal contingency plan and an external contingency plan in terms of if your partners need to change things up really quickly, they know to be on standby during the tournament period as well. So it's a lot of planning that you're talking about here, Vitaliia, and just for one season in the entire sports betting calendar. What are the most common mistakes teams make? Because it's great that you've got everything sorted and you've pre-prepped, done all of your testing. But what are some of the common mistakes that teams make during events like World Cup, especially when they assume that the event itself will drive results, which isn't necessarily true? It does hype up and maybe make people a little bit more active, but it's not going to drive results unless you actually are hitting the consumer with the information, the content, the kind of branding and everything that they want to see. So what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen in your career while working through World Cup type events?
I guess I'm going to repeat, but the biggest mistake is thinking that World Cup itself will bring results. It will bring attention. It will bring volumes for sure, but attention and volumes is not the same as performance. Another maybe common mistake is overestimated demand and pushing budgets without thinking and checking the real economics. During a big event like this, bad decisions become more expensive because traffic is already sheeted and competition is huge. There are also mistakes with geos influencers. Some teams use the same message for every market, even though the emotional context is local one is completely different. Some choose creators or platforms that look strong at first, but do not match the target audience or don't bring real performance. I think every team that works with influencers long enough will eventually have campaigns that underperform. And here I have a concession. We had those situations too. We had some sort of fuck up campaigns.
We've all been there. Everybody that works in online has been there. Yeah, absolutely. It happens to the best of us. Yeah. And so what happened in that instance?
Sometimes the creator looks really good, strong reach, good audience, good engagement. Everything is perfect. Content is perfect, but performance result is weaker than we expected. But honestly, I don't think every underperforming campaign automatically means wasted money. Very often it depends on how you analyze the result and what you do with this information. For example, we had cases where a large creator did not deliver the expected number of FTDs, but still gave us huge visibility and strong brand exposure. So we can, like in future, when we have a brand awareness campaign, we know already the result and we can consider this or that influencer for brand awareness campaign. We had also a good relationship with the management team of the creators. And we had another case where a team agreed to provide additional stories on top of the original placement. So basically we gave twice more views than we expected and significantly more, and influence not only our traffic source, but something else. Because influencer marketing, it's really complex and it's not just direct performance numbers. User may not convert immediately after seeing the Instagram story, but maybe next day they see, let's say, Facebook ads, recognize the brand and finally register, or maybe week later during World Cup, his favorite football team is playing. This person decided to place the pin-up pop-ups in their mind and they just Google it. Technically, they may like organic traffic or another source in our analytics, but the touch point, first impression was made by us, but our influencer team.
Yeah, I can imagine the attribution of all of that must get quite confusing for your BI team to stress it out.
We are not fighting, but there are some discussions about this. This is ours because their promo code was used, like the promo code was ours, but the link was from, again, the Facebook team. And we are finally like, who's really invited this user to the platform?
But that conversation happens in every big company.
Sure, but we should analyze all the campaigns and influencer campaign, not only through immediate FTDs, but also through visibility. I would say this influence to entire marketing ecosystem.
Yeah. It does. And affiliate managers say the same thing. Our affiliates are influencing the entire ecosystem because they also come in from all the different channels. So I reckon that's quite an important point. So mistakes, we've all made a few, but the point is what you do with them. And I really love the fact that you said that, because sometimes we get too hung up on the fact that the campaign didn't work, but we don't actually look at what can we learn from it. And that's a very important piece, because it helps you to then improve the content relationship as well. And also you can get extra stuff back like you did. They posted 2 times the number of stories that you'd actually paid them to do. So I think that's where the relationship management of content creators becomes very important. It's not just about the money that you're paying them. It's about how you actually communicate and work with them on a human level, because they're not like traditional affiliates where you pay, your campaign gets delivered, and then you look at the results. These are like people. You're not buying content, you're buying people who need to then be corralled into doing whatever it is that you need them to do for the campaign. Are you preparing anything special for your partners for the World Cup season that you can share? Like anything that maybe you wouldn't normally do, like new types of ad formats or new scripting? Like, how are you prepping for this next big period?
In terms, again, of our team, yes, we do prepare a special detailed briefs. So again, to prepare the team, and our influencers will be prepared to the fullest, let's say. In general of pinup partners, we are preparing a dedicated World Cup campaign for our partners. I cannot go into all the details yet, but the idea is to make it stronger than a basic promo with standard rewards. For us, as I already mentioned, the partner side is a big part of the whole World Cup preparation. If partners have clear conditions, motivation, and a campaign that matches the scale of the event, it becomes easier for them to plan traffic through the right moments and stay active throughout the season. So we want this to feel like a real opportunity, not just another short-term promotion.
So you give them very clear KPIs of where they are in the kind of like, whether they're a brand awareness content creator or they're a performance-based content creator. You give them very clear briefs of what their content needs to be targeting in that mix of all of the campaigns that you're going to be running. So you're covering your strategic approach in terms of reaching the customer at the right time, place, and space.
We have several influencers, so it's another like iGaming influencer. They understand the mechanics of the platform. They understand what they're doing actually, because there are also some influencers that are converting good. They're just, like beauty bloggers, girls or mom blogs. They still convert good, but they have no idea what they're doing in terms of what is FTD, what like the retention and all of this. So with those who really into all this iGaming stuff, we work even closer because we set for them strict KPIs in even in the amount of FTDs or sum of deposit, because they know how to work with their traffic, with their audience first, and then with the traffic. They know how to, personally, of course, we are on the level of acquisition, but yes, there are some influencers who understand what to do with their audience who are already registered, but maybe they're hesitating. Preparation to the very detail, with everyone explaining the whole idea, expectations we have from this or that person, to make this period more calm as we can.
Yeah, I mean, it's very high touch. What you're explaining is the account management of content creators is very high touch. It's not just here's your link, good luck, and we'll see you when it's time to pay you your commission. It's a very personalized way of managing your partners. So you probably need really good people skill. Okay, so we're coming to the end of this now. So I just want to summarize the episode for everybody that's listening. World Cup doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be having more sales. It does take a lot of planning and a lot of preparation to actually see the campaigns through over the time period when the tournament's getting played. But the most pivotal thing that you've said for me on this episode is attention is not performance. And a lot of people think that working with content creators, the attention and the reach is really all that practitioners like yourself care about. But you've been very clear that it's not. You build your campaigns and your partnerships with the creators that can actually bring you the FTDs. So it's very clear to me that you guys have got an awesome strategy planned for World Cup. I'm looking forward to what your team delivers. Certainly sounds like it's award-winning stuff. I wish you all the very best as you head into this very busy period for a sports betting brand. It's been very interesting interesting to hear how you guys approach content creators and working with influencers at key events like this. And it's just been a pleasure to have you on the podcast this week. So thank you very much for sharing all of your knowledge and talking us through what actually goes behind the scenes into building a World Cup world-class campaign for a brand.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to share all these ideas we prepare with the team. Happy to join anytime and talk about any topic besides the World Cup.
We'll definitely bring you back. Thanks, Vitaliia. It's been lovely to have you. So the takeaway I'm sitting with at this intersection of the World Cup season is that it doesn't create just results. It reveals your preparation and whether your strategy is going to be strong in going into the event amplifying time period. So if you want to explore what Pinup Partners is putting together for the World Cup season, including campaigns Vitaliia mentioned for supporting their partners during this period, check out the links in the show notes because they're well worth a look. If you found today's episode useful, please share it with someone on your team who's planning for other major industry events. And if you haven't already subscribed, wherever you listen, we put out new episodes of this podcast every week with guests who are in the trenches of affiliate and performance marketing. Until next time, keep on testing, keep on preparing, and I'll see you on the next episode.
If you need services to launch, fix, or scale your affiliate program, head over to converge.io. That's Konverj.io. Converge's award-winning affiliate marketing agency. Support brands launch, scale, and grow their affiliate program from technical startup to partner recruitment or competitive program audits. We've got you covered. Book a free 15-minute strategy at converge.io. That's Konverj.io.